we see a lot of health hazards due to plastic, be it for human or as well as for marine or animals too, right?
In a way, we are like gods. We could create anything that we want.
Generating almost 2 million metric tons of plastic waste by 2050. Every marine creature's gut is filled with microplastics and lead.
We will be welcoming every newborn with a lot of plastic waste.
Our exposure to plastics, 3.8 million microplastics per year. So we are getting exposed every year.
We should be able to come up with this biodegradable packaging films or biodegradable packaging.
How do you see the next 5 to 10 years for bioplastics and sustainable packaging?
We use the agriculture biomass of more than 140 billion tons throughout the globe, and then get this white cellulosic material and convert into biodegradable films, bioplastics. That would be awesome. When it rains, nothing happens to it. Water drops on it. But if it is biodegradable, who knows? It may not.
216 million tons of plastics being disposed as of, I think, 2023, 2022. As we discussed, 10% is more of recycled or reincinerated, right? So
the plastic, if you look at the water vapor permeability, is very low. Because that is the advantage of the plastic, because water cannot penetrate at all. I think many countries have banned them, but only problem is, as I said earlier, we need to provide alternative solution. We all have that responsibility. Having born in the society, we have to contribute something to the society. There is no point in taking it from society. We have to give back something to society so that our next generation could build on it and then move on. Failure is a lesson. Failure is a lesson.
Yeah.
We are not losing anything because we know that we should learn something else.
Any specific lesson or interesting mentoring you want to share about, you felt, okay, hey, this is something which I want. This story is good.
One boy started smoking.
If you made it this far, you're clearly into deep, meaningful conversations around health, lifestyle, and the science behind how we live. 60% of people who watch these episodes haven't subscribed yet. If you enjoy these insights, my humble request is to please consider hitting that subscribe button. It will help us bring much more curious minds, expert voices, and keep the show going. Thank you.
I think it's an interesting space to be in at this point in time. It's because it's essential, and it is very, very important to start thinking about alternatives, and especially from a packaging industry. And if you're doing it for food, that's an important space from a health standpoint too, because we see a lot of health hazards due to plastic, be it for human or as well as for marine or animals too, right? A lot of cows consume as well, and the methane emissions is also a concern which we are seeing.
What really happens, you use varieties of chemicals when you're trying to mold this the plastic, when you're trying to make these plastic products. 'Cause in a way, we are like gods. We could create anything that we want. Okay, you see now, for example, the cars also, now we use all those doors and everything have been, metal ones have been replaced with the
Everything has
plastic.
been replaced, yes.
That helps with fuel efficiency is really good. But however, imagine what type of chemicals they are putting in them in order to create that nice, good looking shape. So those things are, they stay put with the material, and then when they are converting to microplastic and nanoplastics, those chemicals could seep through, and then ultimately they could create any health issues. So we have to see whether those chemicals are the creating the problems or the size of the particle that is creating the problem. But either way, we are seeing the effect, and that's where it is better we switch them from plastic to biodegradable materials. That would be advantageous.
If we go this space, what I see is we will be generating almost 2 million metric tons of plastic waste by 2050. Um, uh, so I'm not sure how much I've taken a note, right? So even all the marine animal, like fish, every marine creature's gut is filled with microplastics and lead and whatnot, right? So I think it is coming back to us in the form of when you start eating them.
We will be welcoming every newborn with a lot of plastic waste
Yeah.
if at least we solve this issue. So that's where we had to join our efforts and then come up with a solution. And I believe this cellulosic residue could be one. And there could be some more that one has to pursue.
I think the human exposures to plastic, it's I think we are actually our exposure to plastics, 3.8 million microplastics per year. So we are getting exposed every year. the effects of microplastics in soil, as we talked about, and above and below ground. It is so everywhere. It is, and again, some of them we cannot avoid. For example, if you go get admitted to a hospital and you're probably getting a saline, you'll have to get that from a plastic saline bottle because it was glass. 20 years back, I've seen and had glass bottles, but again, from a convenience and also from a storage and transportation standpoint, glass is not, it requires a lot of safety to make sure it doesn't break. But plastic is one good um, uh, point. But that's again injecting the microplastics into your body, but no alternate for that. You have to
Yeah,
live through. But if you're not getting sick and getting saline, at least you can avoid other aspects of micro and nanoplastics into your body.
I agree, because you see the weight, for example, the glass bottle weight, and then think of it, the plastic pouch.
Plastics,
So one bottle glass saline bottle, I think we could have more than
five or six
10,000
or more than, or even a ton. Yeah, that's true.
ton of this. So the convenience. So that's what the medical industry and have really, pharmaceutical industry have really embraced this, the advantage of these plastics, and then they're really using it, which is really good. But at least in some sectors, the hopefully the food sector, I think we should be able to come up with this biodegradable biodegradable packaging films, or biodegradable packaging will be able to provide a good solution. Good packaging could provide.
I think you answered one of my question. I think one is the scalability, but also the challenge. But I think you talked briefly on a couple of challenges, which is interesting because it's important to have that solved at smaller when you're batches, so that way when we produce large scale it is actually holds good. And the question on chemicals, I know from even on the cow dung, I think the process, if I looked at it, I know I've tried to note down on a specific. I think you're using,
Potassium hydroxide, something like
yeah,
something like
no, I think I'm trying to note down. I think what I think it's sequential alkaline and bleaching treatments is what you mentioned, and also I think zinc chloride to form a hydrogel, and then it becomes then ionized. If I understand the process correctly, there, and then with 10% glycerol. So that's how you get into a semi-transparent film from
solution.
cow dung. Yeah,
Yeah.
solution,
That
and then it is handcrafted into the glass for making a film. So that's more of a small when you produce smaller sizes, but when you become large scale, so it has to be much more or a different process, or it'll go through the same process, but it could be much more large scale.
we need to engineer that process, but in a larger scale it goes. Even then, all these chemicals we have to get
Get
back.
it back.
We
Yeah.
cannot throw them in the environment. That could be a
Right.
lot of costly
Right.
and unnecessary issue that once again we had to deal with. So that is where, before we go to that level, we wanted to get back all the chemicals, recycle that in the process.
To an extent today, whatever the films you've tested or you've brought in, that absorbs the chemicals in the process, and the net product is actually non-toxic and
This
biodegradable. Okay.
this film doesn't have any of those chemicals that I have used. This is no toxic. This will not have any issues. So that there is nothing to worry about it.
So I think, how do you see the next 5 to 10 years for bioplastics and sustainable packaging? So that's one question I have. Probably looking at currently where we are, because I know that multiple researches are happening around bioplastics, and also people are inventing sustainable ways to actually solve this. So where do you see the research heading, and also especially on the bioplastics and sustainable packaging?
As you rightly said, many groups are working, but I was the first one to work on this lignocellulose material, because extracting the cellulose from this biomass and using them, making the package simple, I was the first one. And now many groups also have started. I don't.
Right.
That is how research progresses. There is nothing to
Yes.
worry
Yes.
about it. And apart from this cellulose, people are also using several other biopolymers. For example, starch that you and I eat, our energy source.
Right.
Carbohydrates people have been using. People made a lot of films about starch, but however, starch we cannot use it, mainly because that is our basic energy source. So we need to feed the people. So in that sense, it's better we move away from starch, and that's where the cellulose that we are using on this planet. The cellulose is produced more than
So much. Yeah.
100 billion tons, I believe, every year. Imagine now, if you use the agriculture biomass also, it's more than 140 billion tons throughout the globe, if you look at it, throughout the world. So that is, we are producing and we are living in the environment. So if can, there is a way we can take a fraction of it and then get this white cellulosic material and convert them to biodegradable films, bioplastics. That would be awesome. So that is what we are heading, and that is where I believe is more sustainable, and we'll have more and more people working in this area, and then we will have a very good. Who knows down the lane in 5 to 20 in 10 years, yeah, on the
Be able
cellular,
to, yes.
we'll have a cell phone that is completely biodegradable. But I
Yeah.
don't know. Do you want that? I don't think so. Mainly because now, even if it when it rains, nothing happens to it. If water drops on it. But if it is biodegradable, who knows? It may not. People may not like it.
I think the specific point you mentioned when it comes becomes biodegradable is also the soil moisture. Uh,
Yes.
yes, so I think it's important to talk about. Maybe you can just give a brief on that.
But one more interesting thing is these films what we are making. We could try to make more hydrophobic. Instantly it will not become soluble. So that is where there a lot of research is being done, because we are trying to add a lot of inorganic materials, or even further matter, if you add a lot of lignin also from the plant material, even that it makes more hydrophobic. So hopefully, who knows, we can come up with a combination that could give you highly hydrophobic material sheets we could make, and then that could end up
That could
having
become
this
a mobile phone.
favors
Yes.
and all those things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is where the research has to be done. A lot more research.
Interesting. I think you made an interesting point now. Right. I think I also one more material I want to check. Seashells, which actually comes from that has the polysaccharides as well. When you actually, so do you think that's also one more area? Because I saw some.
Yes. No. I mean, you are talking about chitin by any chance?
Yeah.
People are using chitin and also this biomass. That is also being used because that is also a good source of these polysaccharides. So we could use them as biodegradable materials and then make these bioplastics.
I have some percentages to look at, right? So overall, 216 million tons of plastics being disposed as of I think 2023, 2022. Very, as we discussed, 10% is more of recycled and or reincinerated, right? So volume we require to actually, at least food industry itself, we just take to actually, I mean, that's the major consumer as well. How much more research or funding, like from a funding standpoint, how you see that's happening from a, not just from government funded, but at least from private, and also companies setting up those research center to do it. So I just want to get your perspective. Do you see that support coming? How much of people are volunteering to actually support and take this forward? Wanted to get
That
your point of view.
that's a very interesting point. Important that we all have to agree and observe is, from the public point of view itself, the change has is coming now, because now public is well aware of the plastic issues and what the havoc that it could create. So given a chance, they are ready to switch to biodegradable materials. So,
Yes.
and that's where I see a lot of industries are also very much interested, because as you could see now, many governments have banned a lot of plastic products.
Right.
Banning is one thing, but at the same time, we need to show the solution, because there is no point in saying, "Hey, tomorrow onwards, don't use any cell phone because it contains plastic." But we got so used to it. But we need to come up with a solution. What is the alternative? And that is where I believe lot of encouragement, support is needed. But we see a lot of funding agencies are supporting. Even the industry is also very much interested in developing biodegradable materials. We will have a good support, and then this will lead to a lot of innovations where we all will be able to solve the issue.
Right.
That is
Right.
that is going to happen, because many companies, for example, those companies who semi investors, they are very much interested in developing biodegradable plastic packaging, especially in food industries. There are so many news that you could read. I don't want to name one after the one, but there are so many people are trying to switch to this. But that, as you say, it is not going to happen overnight. It
Overnight.
takes.
Yeah.
So hopefully in 5 to 10 years, I believe we will see in the market on the shelves biodegradable packaged food products, for example,
Mm.
cereals and all those things. But still, there is a lot more research needs to be done, because, for example, the plastic. If you look at the water vapor permeability is very low. because that is the advantage of the plastic, because water cannot penetrate at all. Because if you take a plastic particle, plastic film, and then put a water droplet, it stays there forever. Droplet, water droplet has to evaporate, it will not penetrate. That is the beauty of the plastic. But however, these biodegradable films that we are making, at least my cellulosic films, they don't have that tendency. That water droplet, ultimately it will be sucked by the cellulosic film, because the chemistry is different. And that is where we need to do some more research, and then ultimately make highly hydrophobic biodegradable films, and that could ultimately uh, result us in developing some food packaging materials.
Let's say I think even on the current trend, people want to switch that the alternate of finding a sustainable is not there. But sustainability, when it comes to sustainable packaging, of course, it's sustainable is always not cheap. So so people think that sustainable should be cheaper, but I think yes, it should be biodegradable, and it should be, but then the effort it takes, and probably the product has to be, it's not just it's not come as cheap as plastic, so it has its own cost. Like let's say it depends on the resources. Let's say if it's coming from a biomass like cow dung or lawn, I mean the switchgrass or whatever easily available, we could
But
make
then
it
the
so we could
problem is,
make most cost effective in the long term. Yeah. I mean, from a consumer behavior and industry readiness, but any such anything from a policy standpoint you're seeing in terms of a change. But from what you from the time you've started to now, I know that every company or every government is adopting, as you said, as we see from a single-use plastics banning. But how far it has gone? Because a lot of times I see a lot of times in paper, but I still say if you go to a vending machine and you see that this everything is like plastic cup, plastic spoon, plastic trays, and containers. No change in that behavior. So I want to hear from you.
some societies I have seen, I don't want to name the society, so that, I mean, that could be advantage to them or something. But I have seen in some places they strictly follow the plastic ban.
Yeah.
I I have seen. I think many countries, many have banned them, but only problem is, as I said earlier, we need to provide alternative solution, more
Hmm.
sustainable, inexpensive solution. Once you are able to do that, public will follow. Because now, just by posing the ban alone will not solve the issue. But luckily, all the governments and all the societies have taken the steps to ban the plastic, but they still have not provided the alternative, and that's where the public are not able to embrace this change. And that's where I believe we need to produce this biodegradable packaging in a larger scale, in more inexpensive way, so that we will see a
So,
plastic free society, at least in some sectors. Coating based on the cellulosic
hmm,
thing, I think that would
right,
also solve the issue. So that is one area we had to pursue, and maybe we can make cups or plates. See, now I'm making films, biodegradable films, but next stage is to make dinner plates. Or the you remember you showed the package
right.
plastic
The box.
box. Those
Yeah.
boxes also could be made. We had to mold them. That will take time. One after the one only we can do. I believe once you make those box, a biodegradable box, even if you throw away, that will not be any environmental issue. And I believe at this moment, consumer will not be really worried about the high price, because now every one of us feel that we have a responsibility to save this planet. Because now we have, once we realize that even the plastic that we the throwaway plastic, you can call it, for example, now use the plastic and then throw it away, so it's out of sight is out of mind. So but ultimately we know that now it has reached even the poles, north
Yes,
pole and
North
south
Pole.
pole.
Yeah.
So even that water there is get cut contaminated with this tiny particles, microplastics, nanoplastics. So once every one of us have realized that how much havoc we have created, so it is our responsibility for the next generations, our future generation, in order for them to have a healthy society, we have to transform. So that's where I believe people will not be worried about this, as long as we are able to provide a convincing solution, usable solution, sustainable solution. I think everybody will be after it.
I think I see what drives you continuously on a day-to-day basis, right? I think it's important. I think there is a long-term vision, and this is a space. It's more interesting, and continuously. bringing something more novel, which is creating such products is actually, in the lab, it's soul satisfying, right? So I think I keep talking about something like ikigai, which is like your what is the purpose you live on a day-to-day basis, or probably what is the purpose in which you get up every day, right? So it's not like I think I've born and I'm survived and I've left right, but something I have to do for the society, and probably every day, right? Something small. So I see that passion in you. I think your purpose is to change.
Thank you. We all have that responsibility. Having born in the society, we have to contribute something to the society. There is no point in taking it from society. We have to give back something to society too, so that our next generation could build on it and then move on. That is how all the betterments we have seen. See, all the fruits that we are enjoying now are the hard works of our elders,
True,
our
true.
forefathers. So now we also have to do something, some betterment. So that is what drives me every day. As you rightly said, when I get up in the morning, I'll say, what is that I should do? What is that I could do? How can I take the research to a different level? What are the problems I need to solve? So with that attitude, I come to lab and then, but it takes time. It is not, it is not, it is not like turning on the switch and so that bulb could like, no, it takes time every after, because once we identify the problem, we need to come up with a solution, and then that.
Edison has taken so long, right? It's not that he just turned on the bulb. So same goes with all the scientists who found, right, the gravity, or it is that moment. I think it's research itself is a uh, more patient driven area.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, we should give what you call as we should create something to a tangible benefit. We should give to society.
Right.
So, and the research that we are doing, I think
And
it
it's a
can give.
continuous
That's
improvement
what
space.
drives, to be frank with you, that's what drives me. That is my motivation. I should do something.
People like you are inspiration, right? So for me, for a lot of people, a lot of listeners too, because it is important, because as a research scientist, certain things you're limited to do. Let's say you've taken an area, you will continue to do it, but I think sometimes you have to see what I can use my abilities and power, what I have in my area, to bring up some change to society. I know that is also an important aspect of the research. I think you're um, doing that to bring up some change. So I think kudos to you and the entire team and thinking about it.
We all have the ability to do something, but only thing is sometimes what happens is our abilities and our thoughts, our aspirations, they get clouded by by other aspirations, or
Self doubt.
not self doubt, but we get deviated, distracted,
Yeah.
and during
Yes.
that process we lose the purpose what we are planning to, what we could do it, because we all have the abilities. Every one of us have the strength, but only thing is we should have that constant motto to reach that goal. So as long as you see that, keep that in your thoughts, I think we could go there, than unnecessarily getting deviated. You have to climb the ladder, then getting deviated and looking at who is pulling us down, and then, so those negative forces, don't think about negative forces, and then somehow don't get distracted from your goals. I think once we are able to do that, I believe we all can contribute positively to this society.
Definitely. No, I think wise words from somebody so experienced, right? I know it is not easy to be in the research, and you've done continuously doing it. I think my last question is on. I know you've mentored a lot of scientists, young scientists, who want to solve real world problems. I think, I mean, whoever working with you would probably be fortunate to see certain changes happening, trying to how they are trying to, impact the world. But what would be your advice? You want to give for a young scientist, who wants to do solve some real world problems and do some change.
Thank you, that's too much. But however, as I said earlier, we all have the abilities, but only problem is sometimes our aspirations and our abilities, they get clouded by other distractors.
Distractions.
So that is where I think we should come back to our aspirations, our goals, and then understand our strengths, and then move forward without getting.
So somebody to channelize like you. So have to channelize their young people's mind as well to make sure that their distractions are actually taken away. So yes, I think we have to constantly be
That's
doing.
that's what we do at the university. Is when a graduate student joins us, and then each one will have different abilities, but ultimately we channel their thoughts, their ideas, saying that, hey, these are the boundaries, we have to do this much time frame. So that is how we accomplish everything.
Got it. Yeah, I think don't get distracted. Focus on your goal, and yes, and then continue to um, put effort, even though if you're failing, right? Because that's important. Because it's not like a lot of today generation is, I think, a little bit. I see that there is this. They want to see the results quicker, but if they fail, then they feel disappointed soon, right? Because it's the part of the journey and learning, right? Success is not that easily to achieve, easy to attain. Yeah,
Failure is a lesson. Failure is a lesson.
lesson. Yeah,
It is not.
yes.
We are not losing anything because we know that we should not do that. Something else. So that's a failure lesson. But unfortunately, sometimes our mindset is different. Oh, goodness, I'm keep on failing. No, no, that's a learning process because you are saying I should do something different. And once you have that mindset, I believe we'll be able to accomplish everything. We'll be able to solve everything.
If you made it this far, you're clearly into deep, meaningful conversations around health, lifestyle, and the science behind how we. 60% of people who watch these episodes haven't subscribed yet. If you enjoy these insights, my humble request is to please consider hitting that subscribe button. It will help us bring much more curious minds, expert voices, and keep the show going. Thank you.
No, thank you for that sharing that advice or wisdom, right? It's important. The message should reach a lot of people, um, a- and any specific lesson or interesting mentoring uh, you want to share about, you felt, okay, hey, this is something which I want, this story is good to share for a lot of people to get inspired about, any mentoring like that you've done, anything which from a young students, probably, or any good story like that you remember.
Not very interesting. But one boy started smoking, and then his mother did not like it. So, but she tried to tell him not disadvantage of smoking, but that boy has not stopped. She took him to the village leader and then asked him to advise her boy not to smoke. The village leader, he said, okay, that's a good idea. So give me 3 months. Come back after 3 months. So she goes takes the boy to him after 3 months, and then he advises him what are the disadvantages of smoking, and then what are the things you should not do, and all those things. And then ultimately the boy changes. Then this mother asks him, "Why did you take 3 months? You should have given the same advice on the first day when I approached." Then he says, "No, no. First, I should practice before I advise somebody else."
Teaching.
So he quit smoking, then he started advising. So same way, that is also that stuck with me because when I was a kid, I learned this one. So whatever the advice I give to anybody else, I should first practice that. See now, when I'm mentoring my students, all of a sudden I cannot give them a difficult problem and ask them to explore. I should I should be comfortable, and then I should know it is going to work, or at the same time I should be able to help them. So, and same way, this biodegradable packaging that we are trying to use, I should practice it because if you see, if you come home, my home, we use all this biodegradable uh, plates,
I know
biodegradable
you're.
food, and then or we use some ceramic ones. We don't use plastic cups, plastic things. We're we are using it. So unless I practice that, there is no point in saying going around and say, "Hey, use this cellulosic film." So that is where I believe it starts from us. We should practice before we start advising somebody. And
I
then
agree. I agree 100%.
so I should start working on the non-plastic and biodegradable plastics. Then I could advise somebody else. and then they could practice, and then hopefully that message will go, and ultimately every one of us will be a plastic free world
Yeah, one day, yes.
one
I
day.
think it's important. I think I think your house is more of a lab now to test what you're bringing to make sure
Well,
that's true. Yeah,
but as I said, but once again, I have not made complete plastic proof. For example, I have this phone
you
with
still have, yes. We can't avoid to an extent. I think we can't think of completely evading because it has been industrialized for so long, and it is very difficult to think of avoiding all the places, but at least to an extent, as you said, food packaging is an area where we can try to, and even consciously we can make an effort. There is alternates. There are options to actually not use it. So it's in our consumer behavior as well as the policymaker to work together to bring a harmony there.
For example, these glasses, I cannot avoid. These are made up of plastic.
Yes,
So we are using it. So some unavoidable situations are there, but wherever there is avoidable, we should do it. And that's where
of
I
course.
went. Food sector is one thing that I think we all could avoid them. The plates that
True,
we
very
use,
true.
the carry bags that we use, all those things, and then if we could replace everything with the biodegradable options, I think we'll have a cleaner society down the lane.
Thank you so much, Professor. I think it was, um, I think a lot of wisdom you've shared. I think and you what you the space you are in, it is very nascent and very important, and you know to an extent to solve the crisis where we are in, what we are facing through plastic today. So I hope your research continues, and a lot of different products or probably you're able to produce, right? So my last segment is the rapid fire, so I just want to quickly get through that mm, uh, questions. So let me start with the first. So the first thing you do when you go into the lab every morning. So I know that you don't probably uh,
I
go to
don't have
lab
to
or
go to
probably
lab
teach
because
whatever you do
I
in the
come to
morning.
office and look at my lecture notes, what I had to teach that day. But however, I go to
Yes,
lab and then see what my students are doing, and then if they need any help and how I could help
yes.
them. That is what I.
So what is your uh, uh, probably what is your favorite lecture on a any given day? Which subject is more?
No, no, I teach all food science related, food chemistry, food analysis, food
Yeah,
process.
in that any specific to pick in the food science?
No, everything I like them. There is not much favoritism or something. No, no, no. I like all
So
the.
you don't want to be partial to any subjects. You want all. That's true. Okay. Um, any favorite material or agriculture byproduct which you have worked with? I mean, which is your favorite?
As of today, grape canes. I'll tell you those films are really incredible, and we were so pleased to see that the films are like plastic. They're strong, transparent, and then they disappear fast in the soil. So I really like them.
Mm.
But only thing is now if you can improve their uh, hydrophobic properties, I think that will be a plastic replacement, which we are working on.
I think what you're talking is very. I mean, any product which is a byproduct should be biocompatible, biodegradable, and non-toxic. So that's the main characteristics you're looking for, which is good. And but I had this question when we were talking earlier too. But have you ever tried mixing the cellulose from different, like for example, avocado peel, banana peel, and sweet potato peel, and together with lawn mowing grass?
I think you have
That's a
the
curious question.
I think you have the ability of reading somebody's mind. That's what I can tell you. So that is what we are venturing into now, to be frank with you, because
Okay.
so far we studied all the films individually, but now we were thinking by mixing other biopolymers, and then, for example, um, in the cellulosic materials, we are adding other polysaccharides, other protein matrix proteins, for example, milk proteins, uh, gluten, soy hydrolytes, or some lignin. So we are trying to, and also these different cellulosic residues, we are trying to see whether we could accomplish the transparency that we want, whether we could accomplish the flexibility we want, and most importantly, whether we can see we could reduce the water vapor permeability so that the films will be closer to plastic. We are doing that, my friend.
Wow. Interesting. Good. And thanks for that. I had a curious question because it's but how does it work like when they both come together?
It is a cellulosic material, so there
Yes.
should not be
Yes.
any incompatibility issue. That's what I'm thinking. There should not be any
Mm.
incompatibility issue, but I don't have a answer to tell you. But I believe
Yes.
it will work. We'll have to see.
A scientist or innovator who inspires you?
Two people as of today: Newton, Sir Isaac Newton, and then this Einstein. Both of them, their work.
Einstein. Yes. Yeah. Everybody likes Isaac Newton, even the kids. Right? So that's what they learn first thing. Book which you recommend or you read, or any article.
That's really good. I'm still a learner. I'm a student. Okay, there is nothing for me to recommend. But however, more recently, I got a chance to read the Atomic Habits, which is really good to me because we don't have to start everything big. Start with small steps. So that could bring a big transformation. So this is also in a way related to the story I shared with you, the boys.
Right.
So you practice before you tell somebody, and same way that practice also do its smaller steps. I think we could accomplish anything. That book has really inspired me.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I'll put that in the Atomic Habits. I'll put that in the description when we are releasing this. I wanted to pick your mind on this. I know the technology with AI, everywhere. So we have not talked about it. I don't want to digress our topic from sustainability to more technology in AI, but I know that you probably would be more adopting newer models and analysis based on your research, because 15 20 years back when you started, probably it would be more manual research, or probably writing it and probably then recording, probably putting into a computer, and then you have to do a inference of your own, or probably do some kind of a traditional probabilistic method. But today with technology, it could be more matured, right? So maybe advanced. So maybe share some light in terms of how far AI or the technology is helping your research and in this.
That's really interesting. We have not started using AI, to be frank with you, mainly because we are still at the laboratory scale, and every experiment that we do with hands-on experiments. So that's the reason we have not used AI. But I sincerely believe it is going to revolutionize, to be frank with you, because now once we know, for example, an array of materials with their properties, once you understand, and I think AI will really. Few minutes back, you asked me a question whether you are mixing the polymers, polysec, different cellulosic residue and making the films, and that's where I believe that AI will have a significant role, and it will tell us once we study all these um, different biomasses, and from there it can tell us what could be the conditions for a particular
Hmm.
required material property. I believe we will be able to accomplish that, but that will take some time.
Right, right. Thank you. I just thought of asking that question. Any conversation today without AI, it doesn't end. So it's not, yeah, but I think there is definitely a fair and good amount of usage or possibility of, leveraging for more analytics, and trying to look at a prediction of, how this combination of, cellulose and different uh,
Experimental conditions, different
the conditions,
experimental
yes,
conditions.
yeah,
So
yeah,
how the property is going to be changing, so that it could predict, and then hopefully we'll be able to reproduce it, and then we'll be able to do it in large scale applications.
right. So I know that you said grape cane is your favorite, but any specific surprising experiment which turned out like you didn't expect it to be that way, but then it came out well? Any by product or any experiment?
On the spent coffee grounds, when we made those films are able to block the UV radiation. What was really surprising, it has color, because and it was able to block the UV radiation. So those films that we are trying to use,
Wow,
and we could have a specific application, because any food product that has to be protected
that
from,
has to be, yeah, yeah, correct, UV protected.
we
Hmm.
could use them, because there is no need to add any extra UV blocking materials to the films. So naturally, we could use this coffee grounds or tea mass, and then try to make films. That would be really good. And one more interesting thing we found out was the alpha biomass, because alpha in our film preparation we use calcium ions. Once we solubilize the cellulose ions, we use calcium ions to cross link the chains and make films. Interestingly, alpha has some amount of calcium by itself in biomass.
Wow,
So,
interesting.
with that, the films that we produce have the extra strength. And one more interesting mass is rice. Rice has silica by itself. Rice biomass, if you look at it, it has silica, and then that silica also gives us very interesting properties in the films, the strengths and also water permeability. So thus we have three biomasses that were really interesting to work further.
I also read your research on the paper on the cow dung. So I think is that's also an interesting that's like a easily available cheap bio product which could be, instead of just putting only as a manure and landfill or just dumping it, we can turn it into a film as you mentioned.
For sure, as we think that all this, for example, the cows, so when they are consuming all this biomass, we think everything they could digest, but unfortunately there is some residue left, and then that comes out as a manure. So instead of leaving them get wasted, I think we could, that constitutes only around 10 to 15% of the cellulose, but still we could extract and then make biodegradable films. So that
Right,
a lot of
interesting.
value addition. We just made those films. The films are free from any microbes. The films will be free. So you should not think that, oh, it is coming from manure, so there could be some. Uh,
Bacteria, yeah, yeah, got it. I think
I promise you,
that's true.
there will not be any there.
Yeah. I think the list of products are amazing to see, right? I have like wheat, oat, which has cellulose residues of 35%, 50% from wheat, 35 from soy, and then I think codgrass, switchgrass, sweet potato peels, banana, pineapple, sugarcane. I think the list goes on. And you're also trying to differentiate between the having producing films with lignin and transparent. So I think it's like there's no end in terms of the resources available. It's just that we have to make that work, right?
We had to make it as more sustainable. And then, see, for example,
Yeah.
this film contains some lignin because we purposefully retain some lignin and then see how the strength will changes. And whereas in this case we remove the lignin also. Right film. So we are trying to, depending on the application, now we could create the films of our interest.
So if not a scientist, what would you be doing?
I like teaching, so I would be a teacher. If not teacher, I would have become a farmer. I like farming.
You're already doing both, right?
Yes, farmers, because I have a lot of respect for farmers. Because without their hard work and dedication, I think we will not be surviving on this planet. Because every day, comfortably, we are eating the food that we are eating is all generated by their hard work. So that's where my research always. I believe that my research somehow the outcomes, the fruits of research should be they should be the one we enjoy. So that's where I believe this biomass, when I use and make these biodegradable films, they will get the profit also because the biomass that they're producing, they could a fraction they could sell to us, and hopefully that could increase the new
It's a
income.
circular economy.
Yes, that's what I believe.
I think important point you made, right? It's how do we give back to that. So whenever that's what I see that something food waste is something which I cannot take. Like even the eating food, I think I teach my kids to make sure that they put what they want, and even if it's extra, let's make sure they finish it and not throw it. Because when you go, I've seen a lot of places and restaurants, people order like just like that they order, but they don't finish it, and then it goes waste. It's like so much of food waste, right? And they don't think about people who are hungry and they don't have
Yeah,
food.
the amount of resources and money that we are wasting is enormous, but we don't realize it. We don't realize it. Imagine the grains that are produced on the farm, and then they convert into a product, and then come to our plate, and then we just let that throw during this process. How much of
Whole yes.
effort, money, and energy? So that's where I think I'm glad that you are teaching your kids. That's what we have to teach our next generation, the value. And later when you put this food in the environment, lot of waste, lot of environmental issues. And then to minimize all those things, we should cut down the waste, either food or anything.
Everywhere, yes. I think it's important. That's true. One word your students would use to describe you.
they,
Dr. Jana.
they call me as Dr. Jana, that's what I can tell you.
Okay. Yeah, I can say, I mean, you're very humble. I can put associate to. I think they have that quote, right? So humility, and I mean, if you know a lot, probably you're very humble. So I think I can associate. No, I think the
Very
important to, yeah, important. I mean, I think it's an inspiration, right? It's a learning for everybody.
I know very little. That's what I can tell you. I'm still learning. I,
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. You're very humble.
I have,
Uh,
every day I spend a lot of time in reading peers publications because that's what drives me.
I think when I wanted to talk to you, the first thing I did is, and I wanted to deep dive into this topic. I think I would recommend everybody to read this "Thicker Than Water." It is from Erika Cirino. So it is she goes to they go into the ocean to there is a specific patch which is called plastic patch, and they go in the yacht, and then they try to keep grabbing in the boat whatever the plastics coming out, and then trying to grab it and come to the lab and test it. So across the world they've traveled to collect different uh, plastic waste which has been in the ocean, how long, and uh, and also the impact in the environment, right? So that's a collective effort which they've done with different scientists and ecologists who traveled, and there is a plastic coalition which she has started, and it's fascinating to see such research, and people are putting effort. I mean, it's not like funded, but it is on their own interest to on the environment,
That's
like some like people like you who are contributing on that journey, right? Your dream application for your materials, any
my dream is to create a grocery
wrapping.
bag, grocery bag.
Oh, the grocery bag. Okay, that's
Grocery bag.
interesting.
That is what, because we use grocery bags every day. So
A
that's what
lot. Yeah, yeah.
in 5 to 10 years, if I can keep one of my bags in the grocery stores, I think I call that as most satisfying and then rewarding for me. But I believe we can do that.
Yes. No, no, definitely. I think it's all doable. It's just that time. I think it's the breaking point which happens. I think you're almost close to that journey. I'm so happy that I'm able to talk to you and get that input. But I that's all I had. My questions, and that's the rapid fire. And I'm so thankful for having you in my podcast, and doing this conversation today, and got a lot of learning, and I'm continue to learn and see how we can contribute as individuals and to the society.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and it's pleasure talking to you. And then I wish you all the best. So the way you are trying to take the science to the general public is commendable. Please continue your efforts, and then hopefully we'll get a chance to talk.
Definitely, I think I will set up one more after you break through that uh, solution, right? So we will have a conversation. I wish goes to the gets to the retail shops, and we'll have the shopping bag of
Yes,
your.
I'm pretty sure the grocery bags. That's what I
Yes,
have been dreaming, and then we will do that.
yes. Thank you
You
so much, Professor, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
you too. Thank you.
If you made it this far, you're clearly into deep, meaningful conversations around health, lifestyle, and the science behind how we. 60% of people who watch these episodes haven't subscribed yet. If you enjoy these insights, my humble request is to please consider hitting that subscribe button. It will help us bring much more curious minds, expert voices, and keep the show going. Thank you.